Hi, everybody. This is Miss Jen from Gail Borden. Welcome to Baking for Kids, the summer edition. What does that mean? Well, it's a dessert, which I love dessert, but with a summer spin. So we're talking ice cream, right? Because if we think summer, we think maybe time off school, maybe travel, warm weather here in Illinois, um, swimming, and ice cream. So we're going to do a couple stories about ice cream. We're going to make an ice cream dessert and hopefully something that everybody will really enjoy. And what else? Oh, we're also going to talk about what else does summer mean? Summer reading, my friends, summer reading, which is winding down. So we're going to talk about that too. First things first, I'm going to wash my hands and then we'll get started because that's always first thing when you cook. And I always do, but a lot of times I forget to show you guys. So I'm going to wash my hands. This is a pretty simple recipe and we assemble it pretty quickly. And grown-ups, you will be using the stovetop today for a little bit. So that is the one step that if you have little ones that are helping versus older kid bakers that you will want to supervise. All right, just checking. All right, ice cream and summer reading, two of my favorite topics. Okay, so step one, let's talk about what you need. The recipe should be listed in the description, but you need cornflake cereal. You need 1 container of Cool Whip style topping. You need cinnamon, sugar, regular white sugar, 1 stick of butter, salted or unsalted, it doesn't really matter. And then you are going to need to make a 13 by 9 size, 1.5 containers of vanilla ice cream. So that's it, not a ton of ingredients, pretty simple. So we've got all of those things. And it's interesting, we're gonna do 2 things. I need to heat up my topping and then we're gonna, and then we're gonna let it cool down and then I'm trying to warm up the ice cream a little so it'll be easier to spread around. So let's start with the crumb topping, which is delicious. It's like caramelized, crunchy topping. We need 3 cups of cornflake cereal. So I have my 1 cup measuring. And I want to get this started right away so that we can get the topping made and then it will cool down. So I have a Ziploc bag. I don't know if I've done a recipe yet where we didn't end up crushing something in a Ziploc bag. So I'm measuring out my 3 cups. And honestly, this isn't super fussy, so if it's a little more or a little less, totally fine. That was 2. 3. Okay. So not only can you have cornflakes for breakfast, you can make dessert with it. Okay, so we have the 3 cups in the bag, and I'm going to close it up for a minute so we can crush it, because we're trying to make a really yummy kind of crust crumble topping for this ice cream dessert. And what I found last time, when I've made this before, is that I can just use my measuring cup to crush it. So I have a metal measuring cup. You can use a can, but I mean, cereal, let's face it, is going to crush very easily. So, excuse me 1 second, let's crush this up. And again, parents, like we've said, if you want to give them something to do, great for fine motor and gross motor, you can just have them squeeze the bag. Unlike some of the other things like crushing Oreos, very easy to crush cornflake cereal, right? So I will say, in case this is not obvious, this recipe is not gluten-free. And I would say that the topping is pretty important, so you could try to find a gluten-free style cereal like this, or else just be advised that it has gluten, because that's something that we do take into consideration with some of my family members. Okay, so I have it pretty crushed into fine crumbs, almost like breadcrumbs, cereal crumbs. And what we're going to do is take the 1 stick of butter and put it into, I have a saucepan here that's going to be on my stovetop. You are also going to need a place to put your cake, so you need a 13 by 9, which is the big size rectangular cake pan. So I'm going to cut up my 1 stick of butter into my pan, let it heat up a little bit, and then pour in the cereal. So let's do that. I'm going to get the butter heating up. When you mix butter and sugar, in equal parts. You essentially get caramel, plus this cereal is pretty sugary to start with. And where I'm going with this is it's very easy for it to burn suddenly, so you kind of have to keep an eye on it. So I'm going to cook, and we'll talk while I'm cooking, but I'm also going to be monitoring it pretty closely. Because once you've kind of burnt the caramel, it is not going to taste good. Even if you just burn it a little, it'll kind of taste that kind of yucky, acrid, burnt taste. So cutting this whole stick of butter into my pan. I can put the heat fairly high to start just to get the butter melting. So we'll give that a minute for the butter to melt. Then I'm going to pour in the cereal and the sugar, and we're going to stir it around and get it start to cook. I don't have to stir constantly, but I'll be keeping an eye on it while we do that. And that'll be part of the base and also the topping. In addition to all the ingredients I told you, there's some optional things at the end. It's up to your taste. The main body of the dessert has like a vanilla cinnamon flavor. So I'm going to drizzle honey on top and chocolate syrup. You could also do caramel. You could do some cherries. It really is up to you how you want to top it, right? Kind of like we like to top our ice creams in different ways depending on what we prefer. So the butter's melting pretty quick because it was room temperature. Another hint, the link that I included says to set your ice cream out, your vanilla ice cream, a half hour before you want to make the recipe. I would suggest longer than that, maybe even 45 minutes. Your ice cream sitting in the gallon or the half-gallon tubs, it just takes a while to melt. As a matter of fact, you do need a large bowl for mixing. And I've already put some ice cream in here. So as it's getting softer, I dump some of it because it'll help the remaining part melt faster. Because what we basically are doing is going to mix a container of Cool Whip with the ice cream in a little bit. And we want it kind of smooth and easy to do. Because at the end, we will refreeze it. And then you can cut it like a cake. Okay, so my butter is mainly melted. So I'm going to pour in all of the crushed cornflakes all at one time with the stick of butter. So here go the 3 cups of cornflakes. And then we need a half cup of granulated sugar, which is just plain white sugar, which is a lot. But that's why we're doing this equal parts sugar butter to make kind of a caramel situation with the cornflakes. Okay, so there's my 2 parts. Move this out of the way. And I'm going to just use my spatula for now. I'm going to stir it up a little bit. I'll get it mixed and then I will try to give you guys a peek at how this looks. And it does not take very long for it to brown. I'd say somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on what temperature you have it at. And again, I'm going to have mine at like medium high, but I'm also going to keep a really close eye on it. I also noticed when I've made this before, as it cools down, it all gets kind of brittle, but it's very easy to break into pieces again. It's not going to be a problem. And that's kind of the caramel we've created with the butter and sugar solidifying around the cereal. Okay, now that I've thoroughly stirred it, I'm going to wait a second, then I'll show you guys. I'm going to leave it for a second, let it start to brown just a little bit because we kind of want to let the butter and the sugar caramelize. And of course, there's sugar in the cereal a little bit too. And then it's coating that cereal and making this nice, crunchy caramel topping. This is kind of called a fried ice cream dessert. That's a dessert you sometimes see in restaurants. I haven't seen it as much lately, but it's really nice flavors of like honey and cinnamon and caramel. Someone mentioned to me that it's like fall flavors, but in a summer dessert. So we are just going to let that bake for a couple minutes here. Ooh, and it's starting to sizzle a little bit. The best sound in the world. Butter sizzling in the pan. So hopefully, besides swimming and using chalk and bubbles and visiting the Gail Borden Library, we have had so many friends come visit us this summer, which has been amazing. Hopefully you guys have been doing some reading this summer. If you've been reading all summer or just reading lately, then you definitely should be getting credit for that and be doing our summer reading program, which I'll talk about in some more detail in a little bit. But I will give you some details. I will say the program kind of winds down in this next week. We've had some Facebook posts about it. So, but if you've been reading all summer, you can still pop in. It's not too late to register. We've got some great giveaways that you get, and then there are some prize drawings too, depending on what grade you are and how many minutes you have to read. So, okay, so this is bubbling a little bit. It smells really good. I wish we had smell vision for you guys. We'll just do another minute or two. What you're looking for too is for the, yes, cereal is brown, but we want it to get a darker brown, kind of like a batter for chicken or something. When you're frying something, that it kind of turns that darker, crisper color as it bakes. And again, grown-ups, this is hot, right? Hot butter, hot stove. So this is the part you want to assist your little ones with, or do this part, and then you can use them to stir up the Cool Whip and the ice cream. Oop. Sorry, there's my assistant chef, Sadie, in the background. So, okay, we're going to give that another minute or two. Let me bring it over and see if you guys can see this. So it's just kind of sizzling in there. Ooh. You can see it bubbling. Okay. Sorry about the sous chef. Okay, so it's bubbling even, and it's starting to turn a different color. So this is getting close to the point where I will stop and turn the heat off. But even when I turn it off, it is still going to cook a little bit because the pan stays hot and the butter is an oil, right? So that's kind of where you're getting that stovetop fry. It's not a deep fryer, right? Because that would be really difficult. I don't even know how you would do that. But we can fry these pieces just kind of using our cheat of the stovetop with the oil and then the sugar and the butter. Okay, so that's almost ready. So then the next step is we're going to let that cool, and then we're going to read a couple stories that are all about ice cream, which is one of the best topics in the world. And then we will do our filling, we'll assemble it, and then we'll talk just briefly a little bit more about summer reading. So let me double check my topping here. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe one more minute because it's starting to get a little darker brown and I don't want it to burn. And I can see some of the smaller pieces are starting to brown. This. Some of it is even sticking to the spatula. There we go. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for one more minute. And then that is the step that's done, which again, we have, just to recap, 3 cups of crushed cornflakes, 1 stick of butter, which is equal to a half a cup, and a half a cup of sugar, because equal parts butter and sugar essentially make a caramel, like a toffee kind of thing. And who doesn't love that on top of their ice cream? I can definitely see it's different shades of brown, which would be hard for you guys to tell through Facebook, but you'll see it as you're doing it yourself at home. Okay, I'm just going to call it done. I'm turning off my burner, and I'm going to even move this off the stove top onto something to cool down a little bit. This. 13 by 9. Okay, so I have my browned topping, and that's going to sit there and cool down a little bit. It will start to get, like I said, solidified, where it'll be kind of, it'll crumble, but it'll be crunchy, but it just adds really nice texture to the creamy ice cream filling. Okay, let's do a couple partial stories, and if you want to see the complete story, they're listed on this. You can find more information. I'm going to give you the title now, and you can come in and check these out at Kidspace. Okay, the first story, let me move out of the frame so you guys can see the story, is The little ice cream truck. Do you guys get an ice cream truck in your neighborhood? Because I do sometimes, and love it. I still love it when I hear the bell. So, The Little Ice Cream Truck by Marjorie Collier. Oh my gosh, look at how cute this truck is, you guys. And look at all these beautiful ice cream creations. It's almost unlimited, right? Because everybody likes their ice cream a little bit different way. So this is actually told from the point of view of the little ice cream truck. Oh, and see the musical notes? Because usually with an ice cream truck, there's music. I'm a little ice cream truck. My driver's name is Lou. Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. We're headed to the zoo. Oh boy. I'm a little ice cream truck. Lou plays a jingly tune. Pop goes the weasel. I see a red balloon. Do you guys see the red balloon? I see a bunch here. I see pink and blue and green and yellow. But look, our friend has a red balloon. I'm a little ice cream truck. Lou drives me to the park. Boys and girls come running and the dogs begin to bark. Ooh, so maybe my dog Sadie heard the ice cream man. I don't know. They look pretty excited about ice cream. But everybody gets excited about ice cream, right? I'm a little ice cream truck. The kids start lining up, smiling, leaping, shouting, vanilla in a cup. I'm a little ice cream truck. Rose gets a berry crunch. Bob buys a lemon ice, and Jose a cookie munch. So they have all different ones. I love this sign, you guys. So sometimes they have the words, and usually they have the pictures, and a lot of times they have both. And look at, they go through the neighborhood, stopping at different places, including, look at this, at the park. I'm a little ice cream truck. We watch a baseball game. The players take a break, excited that we came. Now, I will admit, I've never seen a baseball game pause for the ice cream truck, but I love that idea of it. I'm a little ice cream truck. It's just another day. I make the children happy. I love my job. Hooray! And again, we have all the pretty ice cream creations. So if you want to see all the places the ice cream truck visited, you need to check out The Little Ice Cream Truck by Marjorie Collier. Okay, let's do one more. This book is gorgeous. I love the story. I love the illustrations. It's called Paletero Man by Lucky Diaz, and it's illustrated by Micah Player. There's even a song, so if you check out the book, you can hear the song for the Paletero Man. And a Paletero Man sells paletas, which are kind of equivalent of, I mean, there's no exact thing, but popsicles or fruit pops, but there's just a ton of awesome flavors. And they are really colorful like this, so let's see what this is all about. Paletero Man by Lucky Diaz. In the hottest month, on the hottest day, in the city of dreamers, California, LA, I grab my dinero and make my way to find my friend, Paletero Jose. Okay, so he's got his money. Pushing his cart full of cool treats, bailando he dances to mariachi beats. He has dozens of flavors, I can already taste. Will he have my favorite? There's not a second to waste. And here's the sign, and it says, paletas. So he's trying to find it. There's Tio Ernesto. He says, tamale today? No, gracias, Tio. Where is Paletero Jose? Oh, you guys, it says, ring, 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 ring. Can you hear his call? paletas for one, paletas for all. And we're going to keep going because he's going to be through his neighborhood. But you guys will have to check out the book to see all the cool places. But we see this ring, 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 ring. Right? He hears it. It's like, where is it? And he hears the call. They're saying, paletas for one, paletas for all. Keeps going. He still hears it. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. Oh, man, look at he's dreaming and imagining all the flavors when he finds him. Will he have all the flavors, the colors I love? Horchata, canela, the kind I dream of? Chocolate, elote, sandia or fresa? Arroz con leche, miel or cereza? Wow, you guys, we got all these. Look at this, pink, yellow. This one's got different stripe, strawberry. They're just beautiful, different ones. Can you guys hear the call? Ring, 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 ring. Paletas for one, paletas for all. Oh, he found him. Here he is. Paletero Jose. Finally, I'll get cool on this very hot day. Oye, niños, what will it be? And he's got, again, just like our friend the ice cream truck, right? We've got all the different pictures of the ice cream flavors he's got, or some of them at least. It sounds like there was a lot. He has all my favorites. Can it be true? Chocolate, vanilla, y melon too. But today I'd like piña. Do you have that sabor? He smiles a big smile. Claro, para ti, el mejor. I reach into my pocket to pay for my paleta. So he wanted piña, which is pineapple, you guys. Oh, mi dinero, my money. Está perdido. It's missing. Oh, it's lost. ¿A dónde se ha ido? Where did it go? What will I do? What can I say? How can I buy my paleta today? You guys, I'm going to close the book there. We call that a cliffhanger. You guys have to come and check this book out. Does he find his money? Does he get his piña paleta? You have to come and check out The Paletero Man by Lucky Diaz to find out. And of course, we have other books about ice cream too in summer, but they're very popular right now because of the time of year. Okay, so back to regularly scheduled program sponsored by ice cream. So we've got the topping sitting in my saucepan with the butter, right? 1 stick of butter, half a cup of brown sugar, and the 3 cups of cornflakes. So they're kind of now chilling. They've been cooked, caramelized, turned brown. They're sitting there. Time for the big bowl. So we've got this giant bowl full of partially melted ice cream. So we are going to put into this bowl the ice cream. Remember, again, it's like 1.5 of these half-gallon or quart containers. So 1.5 of these. If you did less, it's okay, but I would just be careful with the cinnamon. And then the ice cream, this is very simple. There's only 3 ingredients. The ice cream, the entire tub of whipped topping, the Cool Whip style topping, and then the cinnamon. Okay, so I've got some of the ice cream in there, so I'm going to dump the Cool Whip. And just to be clear, your Cool Whip should be totally defrosted. So I'm going to dump all of the Cool Whip into my giant bowl. And I only did a big bowl so I'd have room for mixing. Because it's nice to kind of mix it around, fold it, and give it some room to work. Okay, so there's that. And I've got some of the softened ice cream in here. And then here is, so this has been sitting out quite a while, and some of it, yes, is very soft, but some of it is still kind of firm in the middle. So, and that's okay if it's gotten pretty melty, because like I said, we're going to freeze it for at least 6 hours anyway, so of course you can steal bites. I'm never going to tell you you cannot, right? We're taste testers when we cook. But overall, when you go to eat this officially, you're going to want to let it freeze for at least 6 hours or overnight. Okay, so then I'm going to put this one in. And so some of it is, it's all fairly soft, but some of it is a little more firm too. And it is a lot, but again, remember, we're filling an entire 13 by 9 cake pan, which is bigger than it looks. So like this particular section is pretty firm still, but I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute. Okay, so there's all my ice cream, and it is a lot. I'll show you guys in 1 second. Just put these in the sink. I'm gonna bring this over really quick to show you, very slowly and carefully. So this bowl is full. Just full of ice cream and Cool Whip, which is a wonderful, beautiful thing. But okay. So now what I need to do is kind of stir this to get it to a nice consistency. So I have a giant metal spoon. I also have a big plastic spoon. So whatever works for you. I have a spatula. You know, that's kind of up to you guys, but I'm just going to keep kind of stirring and mixing. I like to try to blend the Cool Whip and the ice cream first, and then add the cinnamon, so that the cinnamon doesn't end up clumped up, for example, in a thing of the ice cream that's not quite melted. This is heavy because it's all that. So I'm going to set it and hopefully not drop this. Set on the edge of my sink so I can stir. Okay, so cinnamon. I love cinnamon. But sometimes cinnamon can also be almost considered spicy. It is used in spicy dishes sometimes, or sweet. It's one of those kind of interesting ones. So the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon. I tried that. Now this is a lot of solid though that we're mixing it in. So I actually ended up using a little more. I did 3/4 of a teaspoon, but that's to taste again, right? So you're better off doing your cinnamon. Even start with the half teaspoon that they suggest. And then mix it in well, and then taste a tiny little bit, and then toss that spoon, of course. But see what you think. I just personally wanted a little more cinnamon flavor because there's so much ice cream and so much Cool Whip. I mean, this is a giant bowl that we're stirring full. You could also, of course, do like half a recipe, or do this and put it in 2 pans or something if you wanted. You've got some options. Okay, so I've got the cinnamon, and I've got my tiny measuring spoon. So I'm going to do a half a teaspoon to start. My Cool Whip and ice cream mixture is pretty smooth at this point. And it does look like a lot because the cinnamon is really ground up. So, but I'm going to do, I did 1/2, and then, it doesn't have to be exact. I filled my half again partially. And there's my 3/4. So all that brown is cinnamon. Now we're going to stir it up and incorporate it into the ice cream filling. Oh, it smells really good, you guys. Vanilla and cinnamon is such a nice combination. As far as the ice cream you get, I mean, if you have a, strong preference for vanilla, go for it. I would say when you're adding Cool Whip and you're adding cinnamon and the caramel topping and drizzling it with chocolate and honey, I don't really think you're going to taste just the vanilla. So, I'm thinking pretty much any brand of ice cream will work really well with this dessert, which is nice. Okay, this is essentially the consistency of cake batter now. So I'm going to check in on my crumble topping. And yep, it's definitely gotten a little solidified. So I'm going to break it up a little bit, and that's okay. That's what happens. So you just kind of break it up. There we go. So I can show you because my hands are clean. It's like in big pieces here, and I'm just going to break it up with my hands. But you can see how it's sticking together, and it's turned dark brown. So we're kind of bringing that. Be careful in case it is warm, though. Make sure it cools for you. But I'm just saying that's very normal for it to caramelize and kind of crumble together. I used a non-stick skillet. That would probably help too. It just makes it easier. I'm using the side of my spatula, kind of chop it up a little inside the pan. Because once you get it loosened from the pan itself, it's pretty cooperative. But like I said, I'm doing this quicker than I normally would so that you guys can see it and see what I'm up to. You might want to stir it a little after you set it aside to cool so it doesn't get quite as stuck as mine did. But you can once you know it's not totally sticking, you can leave it to cool for quite a while and then go back to it. But it shows you how caramely that combination gets, right? It's totally caramelized, which makes it really delicious. So what we're going to do is take a portion of it. The recipe says 1/3. It's up to you. A little bit, like a third of it, a quarter of it, half, that's up to you. Goes on the bottom of the pan. Then we have the topping that we made with the ice cream, the Cool Whip, right, and the cinnamon. And that'll go on top. So it's bottom, it's like a 3-layer thing. Some of the crust crumbles on the bottom. And then, of course, our giant thing of ice cream, which is going to pour very easily since I let it get pretty soft and I really stirred it and incorporated everything. And then the crumbles on top. Okay, so empty 13 by 9. Turn this a little bit. And I'm just going to pick up with my spatula and kind of pour in. So you can see, too, it's kind of just like crumbles, right? So these are some toasted, caramely flavored cereal crumbles. And again, my hands are clean. That's why I'm just using my bare hands. It's just easier. And of course, if you're doing this at home, that's no problem to do that, right? It's almost kind of got a crunchy-ish granola texture to it. Okay. So I've got a layer in the pan. Now I'm going to wash my hands for 1 second because they're very slippery from the butter and the sugar, but mainly the butter. And I don't want to drop our giant tub bowl of ice cream Cool Whip. So we've got the crumble topping in the bottom. So now I'm going to pour in, because it'll pretty much pour at this point, spread the ice cream. And then I'm just kind of scraping to get as much of it as possible. It did pour pretty easily. You just kind of want to pour it in and then gently spread it so you don't push those crumbles that are at your bottom layer all over the place. Just kind of push from the top down. And gently spread it. It won't take much to spread it, right? Because we're talking about melted ice cream, so with Cool Whip. The beautiful thing, though, is, yes, this is pretty liquidy right now, but it'll refreeze quite nicely. Okay, so then there is my ice cream layer. And then what I'm going to do is move it back over here and kind of gently and slowly add the crumble topping on top. And we are in the home stretch, everybody. So while I'm doing this, because it's just kind of repetitively doing this over and over. So summary, let's go back to that. So you've probably registered already. Maybe you've done it in years past. If you have, you probably know we have paper logs, yes, if you like to color and keep track that way. However, for those of you that enjoy the technology side of things, we have an app that is free for your device called Beanstack. And that's also how we can track our summer reading. It's very easy to do. If you need any assistance, either creating a Beanstack account or getting help logging minutes, you can always call us at Kidspace in the library or come in for help. But that's what you do. You just track your minutes because our summer reading program is minutes based. So our youngest friends read if you're in preschool or babies or toddlers. And yes, of course, we want the babies to do it, right? If you're reading to your kids, which is one of the best things in the world you can do, you just keep track of the minutes as you go. If you do story time for multiple kids all at once, it counts for everybody. So you're going to count your minutes and just track them. So 450 minutes for our youngest friends. Then we've got our elementary friends, right? For the big kids who are really good and enjoy reading and are good readers, that's 750 minutes. And then the big ones, the zone kids, the middle schoolers, you guys do 1,200 minutes. And then when you're done with your minutes, you can come in and redeem for prizes. And I'm going to show you those in 1 minute. I'm just making sure I got my topping spread out here pretty well. We're almost done. So I have my topping spread out across the top, which I'll show you in a minute. Now this is where you can really personalize it. I love chocolate. That is no secret. So I'm going to do chocolate and then honey because kind of when I've had this fried ice cream dessert in restaurants before, it's usually a fried kind of dough crispy portion with the ice cream and then honey on top. So I'm going to do the honey. You don't have to. You know, if there's an allergy, you're not a big fan of honey, then of course skip it. If you love caramel and cinnamon goes great together. You can do that as well. Okay, so first I'm going to drizzle my honey. So putting some honey and just kind of gently drizzling it over the top. I'll show you guys in 1 minute. And then chocolate syrup. Love chocolate syrup. Love it so much, we're running out. So here is our fried ice cream dessert. So in a minute, I'm going to put that in my freezer. And like I said, you could have a taste or taste test. But when you're ready, you need to leave it for at least 6 hours or overnight. And then when you go to serve it, you don't have to have it out too long, and it'll cut really beautifully into like cake slices, right? You can do nice squares that way. You can put whipped cream on top, you could do cherries, you could do sprinkles, you could do whatever you want. So that is our fried ice cream dessert. Okay, really quick, a couple more things with summer reading. Here is the paper reading log I was telling you guys about. It explains everything in English and Spanish, how many minutes. Inside you can track and color if you love to color your minutes. And then one benefit to doing your tracking online is there's some cool prizes, that's all explained back here, that you can put in virtual tickets for to try to win. For sure, everybody who finishes, you might not win one of the big prizes, but everybody who finishes gets a coupon pack. Okay, we've had so many generous sponsors from local businesses and partners. So everyone who finishes who is in middle school or younger gets a coupon pack. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about Funway. We're talking about a free ice cream, a pool pass for Wing Park Pool, tickets to a Boomers game, and a Cougars game. Everybody gets that. Plus, we have additional sponsors and additional coupons. We have Portillo's, a slice of cake. We have Andy's Custard from Elgin, free ice cream. We have Oberweis. We have Kuipers. We have Epic Air. So you just come in, you get this coupon pack, handy dandy coupon pack, and you get to pick one additional coupon. So not all of those I listed, but we have choices, and you get to look at the list and pick one additional coupon from that list. Okay? And then the best part of all is a free book, right? We are librarians. We are working in a library. We love people to read. And you get the book to keep, though, you guys. This is not the normal situation where you're borrowing, where we say, oh, please be careful. We're borrowing. We're sharing. This is your book to keep forever and take home. Or we do have packs of comics as well. So you either get a book or I believe it's a 3-pack of comics. So you have that choice. So coupon pack. Additional 1 coupon of your choice based on what we have available. Plus a book. So you definitely need to come in We have 1 week left to finish. We're at the finish line, you guys. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And it's the perfect thing to do for end of summer, to treat yourself to an Oberweis cone or go to the pool or get a McDonald's ice cream with the stuff you earned by doing something that's super fun anyway, and that is reading. I think that's it. So thanks so much, you guys. I hope you enjoy it. We all love ice cream. And I hope you enjoyed the books. Come in and see me, see my friends. Let us help you with summer reading or help you check out these books. And we'll see you soon. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your summer.